The scent of lemons, sharp and clean, bit the air. Alara's knees, already protesting through the thin foam of her gardening pads, pressed into the unforgiving hardwood. The cloth in her hand moved in tight, desperate circles, chasing an invisible stain just beside the leg of her son-in-law's towering, minimalist bookshelf. Each swipe was a silent mantra. For Sophie. For the baby. For Sophie. Tears, hot and stubborn, blurred the view of the polished oak. They fell not from the physical ache, though that was real, but from a profound, disorienting exhaustion that seeped into bone marrow. It was the exhaustion of being a guest in your own daughter's life. Across the city, in a penthouse that seemed to float among the clouds, Arthur Finch sat in a silence that hummed. The view was a postcard of glittering ambition, but his eyes were fixed on a small, cracked ceramic paperweight on his desk. A child's handprint, glazed in clumsy blue, marked Sophie, age 4. The quarterly reports could wait. A different, more persistent report played in his mind. His daughter's voice on the phone last week, bright and brittle as spun sugar. "We're great, Dad. Just great. Mark's up for a huge promotion. The baby's teething, but it's fine. Everything's fine." Arthur knew the language of fine. He'd spoken it for decades to his own wife, Clara, before the silence of her illness and then her absence had swallowed them both. Fine was the curtain drawn over a struggling stage. He'd tried to help, offered a nanny, a cleaner, a chef, but each offer was gently, firmly deflected by Mark. "We want to build our own life, Arthur. We appreciate it, but we need to do this ourselves." The pride was laudable. The distance it created was a chasm Arthur didn't know how to bridge without toppling in. A restlessness, unfamiliar and urgent, propelled him from his chair. He didn't call his driver. In the tidy, sun-dappled house, the afternoon symphony was reaching its crescendo. 5-month-old Leo, red-faced and furious, wailed from his bouncer. The smell of slightly burnt oatmeal, Sophie's attempt at meal prepping, lingered under the lemon cleaner. Sophie herself moved through the kitchen like a whirling dervish, one hand loading bottles into the sterilizer, the other frantically scrolling on her phone for a pediatrician's number. Her hair was a glorious, chaotic mane, and her eyes held the wild, focused green of a soldier in a trench. "Mom, did you see the baby nasal aspirator? Not the blue one, he hates the blue one, the green one that looks like an elephant." "By the sink, sweetheart," Alara called, her voice muffled as she attacked a sticky patch near the trash can. She hauled herself up, her back issuing a series of small, audible pops. She washed her hands, fetched the green elephant, and pressed it into Sophie's waiting palm, their fingers brushing in a momentary telegraph of shared fatigue. This was the dance. Alara had arrived 3 weeks ago, her suitcase full of knitted booties and a resolve to be useful, not intrusive. She saw it all, the way Mark left for work before dawn, a ghost kissing Sophie's forehead, the mountain of tiny laundry that seemed to breed overnight, the thoughtful, expensive gifts from Arthur that sat unused, and state-of-the-art stroller too bulky for their car, a subscription for gourmet meals that required more preparation than takeout. Alara's help was not in grand gestures, but in the grain of the day. It was in the way she quietly re-washed the bottles Sophie had rinsed in a hurry. It was in the pot of lentil soup that appeared on the stove, its earthy, garlicky scent a comforting anchor. It was in taking Leo for a walk in the old, slightly rusted sling she'd used for Sophie, his fussy cries calming to gurgles as he felt the steady, ancient rhythm of her heartbeat and steps. But today, the tide of chores had overwhelmed her. Mark's parents were visiting tomorrow for the first time. Sophie was vibrating with nervous energy, wanting to prove their independence, their capability. The house had to be perfect, and Alara, wanting to lift this one concrete burden from her daughter's shoulders, had taken on the floors. Arthur's luxury sedan felt alien on the tree-lane street. He found the house, noting the cheerful, peeling paint on the swing set next door, the bike lying in a driveway. It looked like a life. He'd texted Sophie he was in the neighborhood, which was a lie spanning several zip codes. He walked up the path, hearing a faint wail of a baby. His heart clenched. That was Leo. He rang the bell. No answer. He tried the handle. Unlocked. Pushing the door open, he was met with a wall of warm, lived-in air. The burnt oatmeal, the lemon, the unmistakable milky scent of infancy. "Sophie, it's Dad," he called softly. He followed the sound into the living room. And then he stopped. All the air left his lungs. There, in a slash of late afternoon sun, was Alara, on her knees. Her silver hair, usually in a soft bun, had escaped in wispy strands around her flushed, damp face. She was crying, not with sobs, but with a quiet, relentless leakage of tears as she scrubbed the floor. In that instant, she wasn't her bright, capable daughter. She was a woman worn to a thread, performing an act of servitude in the home of her son-in-law. A million images collided in Arthur's mind. Clara, tired but smiling, wiping pureed carrots off a tiny Sophie's chin. His own mother, hands raw from laundry, singing in their cramped kitchen. The countless invisible labors of love that had built the foundation under his own towering success. Labors he had, in his climb to the top, perhaps come to see as simply background. A profound shame, hot and sour, rose in his throat. This was his family, his daughter, and she was kneeling. "Ilara!" She started violently, dropping the cloth. Seeing him, her face crumpled further, not in relief, but in a kind of horrified embarrassment. She scrambled to get up, wiping her face with her sleeve. "Arthur, I didn't... Sophie's just... the house." "Where is Sophie?" he asked, his voice gravelly. "Upstairs with Leo, trying to get him down. Mark's parents are coming." Her explanation was a frayed rope of excuses. Arthur didn't hear the rest. He stepped forward, past her. He took off his tailored overcoat and draped it carefully over the back of the sofa. He loosened his cufflinks, the platinum ones, and placed them on the coffee table. He rolled up the sleeves of his custom shirt, exposing his forearms. "Arthur, what are you doing?" "What does it look like?" he said, a strange, soft lightness in his voice. He walked to the kitchen sink, ran the hot water, and found a clean cloth. He came back, and to Ilara's utter astonishment, he lowered himself onto his knees beside her on the floor. The billionaire and the grandmother kneeling side by side on the oak planks. "Show me," he said, not looking at her, focusing on the floor in front of him. "Arthur, you can't..." "Ilara, show me how to do it properly." Hesitantly, she picked up her cloth, folded it into a neat square. You go with the grain, small circles for the tough spots." He nodded, a serious student. He dipped his cloth in her bucket, wrung it out, awkwardly at first, and began to wipe. The motion was stiff, unpracticed. He was cleaning his son-in-law's floor. For a minute, there was only the sound of damp cloth on wood and Leo's fading cries from upstairs. Then a shaky, almost disbelieving laugh escaped Ilara. "Your shirt costs more than their sofa." A grin, genuine and unguarded, broke across Arthur's face. It transformed him. Then it's about time it did some honest work. They worked in a peaceful, focused silence for a few more minutes. The simple, rhythmic action was a kind of meditation. The shame in Arthur melted, replaced by a deep, aching connection to this woman, to this home, to the very ground of their family's life. "I wouldn't let her hire help," he said quietly, not as a defense, but as a confession. "I know," Ilara said, her circles becoming slower, less frantic. "She wants to be the one who manages it all. She's so afraid of being seen as not enough." "She got that from me," Arthur sighed. "I thought providing was love. I built her a castle and forgot to show her how to find the kitchen in it." "You showed her other things," Ilara said, surprising herself. "You showed her how to be fierce. She gets that from you too. She's in the trench right now, but she's the general in it. We're just the supply line." Arthur paused, looking at her. He saw not just the tired woman, but the steadfast ally, the quiet fortress. "The most important supply line," he said, and his voice held a reverence usually reserved for boardroom victories. The creak of a floorboard made them both look up. Sophie stood at the foot of the stairs, Leo asleep on her shoulder, a tiny fist curled near his mouth. Her eyes were wide, moving from her mother's tear-streaked but calm face to her father, the titan of industry, on his knees with a cleaning cloth in his hand. For a moment, no one spoke. The scene was too absurd, too raw, too beautiful to translate. Then Sophie's chin began to quiver. The brittle "fine" finally shattered. "Daddy!" That one word from her grown daughter nearly felled him. "The cavalry's here, sweetheart. A rather poorly dressed division, but we report to duty." Sophie walked over, tears now streaming down her own face. She didn't speak, she simply bent down, careful of the baby, and kissed her father's lemon-scented cheek, then her mother's. It was a seal of gratitude, of surrender, of love. "Now," Arthur said, heaving himself up with a groan and offering a hand to Ilara, "strategic reassessment. Ilara, you are on baby and mother hydration duty. Sophie, you will sit on that couch and not move for 20 minutes. I am commandeering the kitchen." "You can't cook," Sophie sniffled, a real laugh bubbling through her tears. "I can order takeout like a champion," he declared, pulling out his phone, "and I can set a table." And he did. He called not his usual gourmet caterer, but the Burmese place Sophie had loved as a teenager. He rummaged through cabinets, finding mismatched plates and glasses. Ilara, having washed her face and settled Sophie on the sofa with a glass of water and a sleeping Leo in her arms, joined him. She showed him where the cutlery was, the napkins. They worked around each other, a new, tentative rhythm forming. When Mark came home, early for once, he found a scene from an alternate universe. The house glowed not with sterile perfection, but with warm, lemony clean light. The rich, spicy aroma of tea leaf salad and curry filled the air. Her father-in-law was pouring water into glasses. Her mother-in-law was swaying with her sleeping son in the middle of the living room, and her wife, her fierce, struggling wife, was asleep on the couch, a blanket tucked around her, a peace on her face she hadn't seen in months. Arthur put a finger to his lips and gestured to the table. Mark, speechless, simply nodded. They ate together as the dusk deepened into night. The conversation was not about promotions or milestones, but about the perfect sourness of the pickled tea leaves, the softness of the coconut rice, the way Leo had smiled in his sleep. It was a tapestry of small, sensory threads. Ilara recounted Sophie's first word, cat, whispered to a stuffed animal. Arthur, emboldened by the darkening room, shared how Clara used to sing off-key lullabies. Mark confessed he'd been terrified to hold Leo for the first month. The floor, now gleaming and dry, held them all. It had been the stage for a silent crisis, and then a quiet revolution. Arthur hadn't written a check or solved a corporate merger. He had knelt. He had gotten the knees of his trousers wet. He had shared the weight of a bucket. Later, as Arthur prepared to leave, Sophie walked him to the door. She hugged him, a long, deep hug that spoke of a bridge rebuilt, plank by humble plank. "Thank you, Dad, for everything, for seeing." He held her face in his hands, his thumbs wiping away fresh but softer tears. "I see you, Sophie. I finally see you, and you are more than enough." He drove back through the glittering city, but the lights seemed less like trophies and more like the distant, friendly fires of other families, other floors being cleaned, other meals being shared. other silent battles fought, and quiet reinforcements arriving in the nick of time. The next morning, a Saturday, Mark's parents arrived. The house was tidy but lived in. Sophie was calm, Leo cooed. And when Arthur showed up an hour later, not with a gift, but with a bag of fresh bagels and a determined look, he was greeted not as a guest, but part of the crew. Ilara handed him a knife for the cream cheese. Sophie put him in charge of toasting. Mark's father, a retired teacher, chatted with him about the intricacies of baby sleep cycles. Arthur Finch, the millionaire, stood at the counter spreading cream cheese with intense concentration. He listened to the symphony of his family, the baby's gurgle, the women's laughter, the easy talk between the men. He felt the morning sun warm on his back through the window. He smelled the coffee, the bread, the faint, clean scent of lemon that lingered, a promise. He had found his daughter kneeling, and in kneeling beside her, he had finally stood up fully, as a father, as a grandfather, as a man come home. It wasn't a castle, it was a kitchen, and it was everything.